Welcome back. In 2004, former NMU and Olympic hockey player Eric Le Marque survived 8 days stranded in the mountains battling for his life, ultimately resulting in the loss of his legs. On November 2nd, he returned to Marquette to share his story. The Marquette community packed the Great Lakes Room at NMU's University Center to hear about Eric Le Marque's incredible tale of survival.
I survived minus 20 to minus 30 degree wind chill factors, and the longest somebody had survived was three days. I had survived 8 days and dropped 40 pounds. It became 86 degrees with the body core temperature, and it was after the second night that my feet were just yellow-purple swollen. I'd ripped the frozen socks off my feet and ripped the skin off of them, that I knew that they were gone, but yet they still had to take me out of there, and it wasn't until 5 days later that I would be rescued and pulled off.
Le Marque was also promoting his book, Crystal Clear.
You'll find a compelling 8-day survival story, and then what happens to a man who's made his living and has done everything with athletic prowess, and now faced with that 2 tests, losing his feet, faced to 4 walls and confronted with reduced to 4 walls in a hospital room, and now confronted with that ultimate test is what it takes to find yourself out of that darkness, and after so many lies, to begin to tell the truth and live again.
Le Marque's message to those in attendance was crystal clear, and he hopes others can learn from his story. To hear our entire interview with Eric Le Marque, visit our website, catchattv.org. Joining us now to talk some NMU hockey is Sean Kelly. And Sean, the team headed to Columbus this weekend for a series against Ohio State and ended up with a split.
That's right. NMU went down to Columbus to play the Ohio State Buckeyes. And it was a story of 2 teams that had really high expectations on this season. And early on, both teams have kind of struggled out of the gate. NMU started the scoring off early with a goal from Mark Olver 22 seconds into the first period. That goal would end up being enough as the Wildcats won the game 1-0. But the story of the game was Reed Ellingson. He came up with 32 saves for his first NCAA shutout. Saturday night, NMU lost 5-4. They gave up a lead with under 10 minutes to go in the third period. But the offense did look a little better. Andrew Chernichin, Tyler Grom both had a goal and an assist each. Billy Smith and Mark Oliver also added goals on the night.
Yeah, Sean, Mark Oliver's been really consistent this season, but it was nice to see those other guys step up.
Yeah, it sure was, and this is what this team has been looking for all season so far. Mark Oliver, he has 6 goals and 5 assists on the year. Justin Florix pitching in with 5 assists. But it was nice to see Phil Fox get on the score sheet with 2 assists this weekend. And Billy Smith, he has 2 goals and 2 assists, but his forechecking presence is also really big. And that line of Hansen, Butcher, and Fox really controlled the game on Friday night in Ohio State.
Well, Sean, things don't get any easier for this team, traveling to South Bend this weekend to take on Notre Dame. What will be the keys to the series?
Oh, Notre Dame comes in this year, a little bit of a question mark in goaltending, but it's been answered with freshman Mike Johnson. He has a 1.67 goals against average, which is number 1 in the NCAA, and he's backed up by Brandon Phillips, who has a 2.17 goals against average. So whichever goal he gets to start, you're going to have a hard time scoring. Notre Dame's 5-4-1 this year. They've had a few losses against Alabama, Providence out of Hockey East, and last weekend against Alaska. So it shows they are vulnerable this year. You really have to watch out for Ben Ryan. He has 3 goals and 7 assists on the year, and senior defenseman Kyle Lawson with 3 goals and 6 assists this season. If the Wildcats can contain those players, I think they have a good chance of at least getting a split and 3 points in South Bend.
The team should be really motivated for this game since Notre Dame knocked them out of the CCHA playoffs last year.
Yeah, it was a real tough loss. Northern battled that whole game, and they tied it up with under a minute to go, only to have Notre Dame come right back down the ice and score. I think they're going to be really motivated to turn some heads this weekend.
Let's hope so. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, Bryce Burge will rejoin me to preview NMU Volleyball's GLIAC tournament. Stay with us.
This is Eric Le Marque, and you're watching Cat Chat. You better enjoy it.
Welcome back to Cat Chat as we are rejoined by Bryce Burge to give you a little preview of the GLIAC Volleyball tournament coming up. Bryce, where are the Wildcats seated?
We're seated 3rd right now in the North Division, the powerhouse division of the GLIAC, and we're going to be playing the 2nd-seeded Grand Valley Lakers. We were actually tied throughout the regular season with the Lakers, and we split with them, with each team winning on the road. But Grand Valley was given the home seed because of the tiebreakers that went in. The other quarterfinal games that are going on are Ferris at Hillsdale, Wayne State at Ashland, and Michigan Tech will be at Saginaw Valley.
What's the big storyline of this tournament, Bryce?
Well, really, it's the way that the North is able to handle the South without a problem. There's 5 winning teams in the North Division, while the final seed, Wayne State from the South, finished 8-8 in the North Division. North has 56 conference wins, while the South only has 40. And Hillsdale, a team that was ranked earlier this year, I want to see how well that they can play against Ferris, a team that beat them 3 weeks ago.
Can the Cats host the home game in this tournament?
They can, but only if all 4 road teams win this weekend. That would mean Ferris, Wayne State, and Tech, and of course Northern would have to win. Ashland, out of all the home teams, are my favorite to win because it's a 9-7 versus 8-8. But the Eagles' offense is pretty balanced enough to handle the weaker Wayne State defense.
Who are the top contenders in the tournament, Bryce?
I like Saginaw Valley to win it all in most cases, though I think if they lose to Tech in the first round, I'm going to pick Northern because Northern will have the highest possibility of hosting after that. I don't like Hillsdale because they had that loss against Ferris a couple of weeks ago, and they finished 2-2 against the North in conference play, so I'm not sure if they've got it all right now. They probably will make an NCAA appearance afterwards because they're out of conference record and everything, but I don't think they'll have it in this tournament. Dark horses, though, are going to be Tech and Ferris, the 2 wildcard teams that actually have better records than Ashland and Wayne State. They can definitely pull something out if things go their way.
Should be interesting to see how this plays out. Well, that's going to wrap up this week's edition of the show. For Bryce Burge and the entire Cat Chat crew, I'm Pete Francis. Until next time, go Cats.